What episode are we on now?
Episode 6.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, because, so we did Most Wanted Santa last time.
Oh, God.
Try and forget that. We're moving on. Episode 6. So, I guess, what are we talking about today? We already know, but no one else knows.
No one else knows.
So, what are we doing today?
We are doing our top 5 favorite horror movies of all time.
Of all time. Let me get my
Makes
list
that
ready.
sound pretty intense.
Yeah. I feel like we can probably run through our top 5s pretty quick, so I guess we'll see how long this whole episode will be. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should start with kind of what we've seen recently or what's kind of going on new, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, do you want to start? You watched something recently? Well, actually, I should say first.
Yeah.
It's my birthday, and I was expecting Jordan to forget. So I was all ready to call him out on the podcast.
Already pegging me to be a bad friend.
Yeah, I was all prepared to do that. And then he said, happy birthday to me when I came in the room.
Right in the door.
I only expect it because I always forget people's birthdays, so I kind of expect the same thing.
Yeah.
And he got me a gift, too, which... Now, because I was going to mention how bad of a friend he is, now I have to mention how good of a friend he is. So he got me Throne of Blood, Criterion.
Yeah.
So I've never seen an Akira Kurosawa movie, so now I have no excuse.
Yeah. We got a special guest on our podcast today. You might see her in the video. She's just wandering around, sniffing things out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's a dog, by the way.
It's a dog. Yeah. Just to clarify that. So hopefully she's not too disruptive.
Nah, no, it's good. It adds a vibe that I like,
Yeah. She'll probably just sit here and stare at me the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's I just watched that movie. And we mentioned in like the top 5 like all-time favorite movies, how much I like Akira Kurosawa. Just watched Throne of Blood last week, roughly. And it was really, really good.
Yeah.
I was entertained like all the way through. So
nice.
I think you're gonna like it. Is this your first one?
It'll be my first one.
First Kurosawa movie?
Yeah. And it's of a nice length too. I think 106 minutes. So it's nothing like, 3.5 or
It honestly like went by pretty fast. Like it didn't drag on. It was like a good even pace, and it was a really cool story.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I'm excited to watch it finally, and then I'll have to watch all his other movies.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's kind of there's a couple spooky parts.
Is there
like parts where I'm like, ooh, that's a little eerie looking.
Really?
Like just the shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't spoil anything, but like there's a shot of like the main character's like wife, like coming into the door frame. It's like just pitch black, and her face is like.
Is she alive?
She's alive. Yeah. But it's like her face is just like her eyes are like wide open. I don't know if it was just the style, but her eyebrows are like up here.
Really?
It's really weird.
Oh man.
I don't think they intended it to be spooky, but it was just like
kind of freaked you out.
Kind of uneasy.
Yeah. Were you watching it alone?
Alone. Yeah. I watched it like I don't know, lunchtime or something like that.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. I love that. Nice afternoon movie. It's
my
my favorite time to watch a movie.
I was like, I woke up, had breakfast, and watched a movie.
I love that. That's like, I wish I could do that every day of my life.
Yeah.
But sadly, that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah. I was like, you know what? I gotta start watching stuff. I gotta keep up with my Letterboxd.
Yeah.
This is another thing. Like,
yeah, you've been updating it now.
Yeah, I think just before the first podcast when we picked up Taxi Hunter.
Yeah.
You were like, oh, you should get a Letterboxd, and I was like, oh yeah, I should. And I didn't keep up with it, so I was just like, yep. Reviewed Taxi Hunter as like 4 stars or whatever it was, and that's it. So I was like, you know what, I gotta start watching stuff. I gotta start updating my list, because if anyone follows me, then they'll see what I've seen or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's just like I started with the most recently watched one, so it was Throne of Blood, and then dragged across concrete.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I was just like, I'm going to start going to movies that I've already seen. So it started with Lord of the Rings, something just simple and easy that, but I'll keep on updating it. So if anyone follows me, then
nice.
They can.
What's your handle?
Let me see.
I love Letterboxd. I had it a long time ago, and then I got rid of it because it was stressing me out so much trying to rate every movie I watched.
Yeah.
And then I got over that, and now I just I love it. I still get a little stressed out sometimes trying to figure out, because it doesn't really matter, but sometimes giving a movie a rating feels like so final, you know? And I'm like, do I want to judge every movie and like rate it?
Yeah. I think later that day after I watched Dragged Across Concrete, I reviewed that one first because it was like a little bit more fresh in my head. So I watched 2 movies that same day.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm gonna at least plan out my review while I'm walking the dog.
Yeah.
So I was just like talking to my phone and just like it just wasn't working. So I was just like, I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah.
But my handle is Seymour Butt, SEYMOUREBUTT.
Yes.
So a little PG.
Yeah. I have my aunt on Letterboxd, and she messaged me, and she's like, "Is Seymour Butt someone I know?" And then I'm like, "Oh, that's Jordan." And she's like, "That's a great name."
That's my handle literally for everything.
For everything.
For like all my online like sort of gaming stuff, it's always Seymour Butt.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just something I stuck with.
Yeah. I read your review because I've always wanted to see Dragged Across Concrete.
Yeah.
That director has done another movie with Vince Vaughn too. I can't remember, something else.
Okay.
Dragged Across Concrete. Then there's another one where he's like, are they in prison in that movie?
No.
No, they're like cops.
No, they're cops.
Okay, there's one where Vince Vaughn's in prison.
I might know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was reading your review, and then you mentioned something that I always notice in movies too, which is when people are playing video games.
Yeah.
And they're clearly not playing a video game. Like I just saw Nora, which I really liked, but in that there's a character who's playing like, it sounds like Call of Duty.
Okay.
And the way he's hitting that controller, it's like that is not Call of Duty, what he's playing.
Yeah.
What is he playing where he has to hit so much at one time?
It's like, you know that you're trying too hard to make as many sounds on the controller as possible.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to like solve a Rubik's Cube in record time. You know, it's like,
that's what it sounds like
doing?
Too. Yeah. I like when I seen it, I was like, oh, come on. Like you can obviously tell, like, I mean, like I said in the review, it's like anyone who's a gamer is going to know, like, they're not even playing anything.
Yeah.
Like at least turn the friggin' controller on.
Who's playing?
It's like the one guy's character. It's not Vince Vaughn.
Okay, I was gonna say 'cause he's probably never played a video game in his life.
No, he's like a sub character. So he's playing like a video game with his little brother or something.
Yeah,
it's like they're both. They show a screen of them playing a video game, and it's like obviously it's just like some animation that they quickly just whipped up.
Oh, it's like a fake video game too.
It's a fake video game. So it's like if you're implying that you're playing on a PlayStation 4, which they probably like tried to make it seem like who's going to notice this, right? Continuity, actually, there is continuity error
really
in the very end revolving a video game.
Yeah.
And they show the screen of them playing the video game, and it's like, this looks like dog shit. So it's like it's supposed to be on a PS4. It doesn't look that great. It looks like something that would be on like
Does it look like it's actually on the TV, or is it like one of those superimposed things where it's like?
I think it looked like it was actually on the TV, so they might have loaded something up.
That's good.
But in the end, they're doing the same thing. They're playing a video game, but they're using a different controller playing the same game.
Oh no, is it like an Xbox controller now?
No, it's just like some random third-party controller. Yeah. So I was like, oh, come on. Like, continuity, guys. Like, obviously, they probably just couldn't show the PS4 controller because it's Sony. Yeah. So I guess it makes sense.
Yeah. But I wonder with you, because you like play more video games than I do, I wonder if you were to act in a movie scene and you had to like fake play a video game, if you could make it look realistic. Or do you think it would still come off as like... You'd have to like pretend you're moving a character in a game. You know,
I know. I guess if they give you like a context, okay, you're playing like a shooter, then you might be able to like fake it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because, who's going like button mashing all this stuff?
Every button you can possibly press is being pressed. And they're always like moving their body. And when they're playing, I'm like, ugh.
In that sense, it would be more realistic if they were playing like a fighting game. Or something, right?
Oh, for sure.
Like now, like that's what I do. I'm just pressing everything, right? Just to try and get something to work. But
when you're playing Call of Duty, like I think back when I would play Call of Duty, I wasn't hitting every button like crazy.
No, it didn't. It wasn't that audible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Anyways, that was like, it sounds really minuscule, but like that was like one of the big issues for me. It was just like, come on, like it's a simple thing. Like you think as an actor, you'd be able to be like, okay, I'm playing a video game. But maybe that doesn't translate well if they don't do it.
If they don't do it, yeah.
So it's like, I guess if you're an actor and you don't do it, then you're like, what does playing a video game sound like?
Yeah.
It just sounds like mishmash and just noises, right?
Yeah. And I wonder, like, the kid in Nora who's playing video games, he's like 20. So I'm assuming he plays video games, and the director normally likes what's happening on screen to really have been happening in the room when they're filming. Yeah. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they were actually playing Call of Duty, and the kid was just like in an intense fight, but it looks ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, come on. That's a little much. That's a little much there.
It's like when you watch, like, what is that game, Starfield, and they're like playing it really fast or something.
Oh, like Star Trek or something? No, yeah.
What's that game? It's like you gotta hit all those buttons fast.
I know what you mean. StarCraft.
Yeah. It sounds like that. I'm like, oh, what the hell?
I don't know. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was like, I think, well, you saw my review.
Mm-hmm.
I tried not to spoil it. There was just a little few things that I pointed out that like really bothered me. The big thing like was like the acting.
Yeah.
I think was like, as you say, stiff.
Really?
Super stiff. It felt stiff and like
from Vince Vaughn, and who else is in it?
Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Laurie. God, I don't know her real name in real life. It's Laurie from The Walking Dead. No. Yeah, Laurie, the blonde.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from like the first 2 or 3 seasons or whatever. She's in it.
Yeah, I could take her or leave her. You know, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's other than that, there's no one else. I think the one guy I recognized, he plays like kind of like the bad guy.
Mm.
But it was just like I said, it was a very like stagnant movie. It just didn't like. I didn't really notice. I didn't pick up on anything like any sort of like, because I feel like they didn't have a score in it, like like a music scene or whatever.
I always notice that stuff right away.
I was like, this just felt dull. Like it didn't do anything. So that was kind of the one thing I was like, yeah, okay, it's not like the best movie. It's not the worst movie ever either. But again, it's like, what's the point of this movie? Right? So it's like, I think like when I first seen like I said, I seen scenes online in the review. I seen scenes online first, and it was brutal. Like they just show, obviously just the brutal scenes are online, and it's like when, like I said, when someone gets shot in the movie, there's just no audio from that person. Like it's just like you might, if people have probably seen this, because this has been out for like 6 years, I think. The one girl's like fingers get shot off. And she's just like, It's like, wouldn't you think that if you don't feel that pain, that you'd be like horrified
for sure
of what just happened?
That
doesn't make sense. Like you if you got your finger shot off, you'd be screaming, probably, if not from pain, then from just being like, you know, horrified that your fingers are gone.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
I've only seen one movie by him, and that's kind of what I remember is like his sound is like dry, is how I'd explain it. Like even when people get shot, it's like dry. It's like nothing, which maybe, I don't know. It's interesting. It's different than like other movies, you know?
Yeah. I try not to like rip on him too much, because like maybe that's just his style.
Yeah.
And if it's your style, then there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's just, that's just how you do it, right?
Yeah.
Because then that's just a matter of opinion, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you can't, if someone's style is wrong to you, it's not the wrong answer. It's just, that's how they shot it, right?
Yes.
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's one of those movies I want to watch, but it's at like the bottom of my to watch list. You know, I'm not like rushing to see it, mainly because Vince Vaughn, even though I don't hate Vince Vaughn, but I'm also like, when I hear Vince Vaughn's in a movie, I'm like, I don't know if I need to rush out to see it, you know?
Yeah.
I've learned to like him a bit more now. I used to have like a real hatred for him for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I only saw him in like Dodgeball, but still.
Yeah. Because he just seems like a comedy guy. That's what it is. And then he's forced in like to these sort of serious roles, and it's like it sometimes doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas like, it's almost like Adam Sandler. You know, he's done all these ridiculous comedies, and he does like Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
And then it's just like he did a really good job at it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just, I feel like maybe Vince Vaughn's one of those guys that just can't pull it off.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, like you can't get past it.
Yeah.
Because it's, again, he didn't put on like any facial hair. He didn't like change his appearance, anything for this movie. It just looks like Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
In every other movie that has Vince Vaughn in it.
Yeah. You should watch the prison one. I've heard it's better.
Yeah.
But
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I heard it's brutal too. And that's the one reason why I kind of have I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I watch a lot of movies alone, and sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I want to like sit through that right now, you know?
Yeah.
But
I was, the only reason I watched it is because I sat down at my computer, and then I'm like, I seen a scene online. I'm like, you know what? I'll see if that's online.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon Prime. So I was like, you know what? I'll just multitask. I'll do something else, and then just have this on in the background.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
It was just, you know.
It's a movie to watch.
It was a movie to watch. Yeah. Have on.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I'll just briefly talk about one movie I've seen. I posted it on the Instagram. Megalopolis.
Okay.
Dude. So it's Francis Ford Coppola, who's like, he directed like The Godfather and all this stuff. So I heard about this movie. I've known about it forever. And basically he like funded it himself, all like 120 million of his own dollars, sold a part of his winery to make this. So it's a huge personal investment. It's a movie he's wanted to make for like 20 some odd years.
Okay.
So he finally made it.
Okay.
And holy shit, what a dumpster fire.
Really?
Oh my God. It was the worst movie. And I was talking to Dylan about it because I saw it with my cousin Dylan.
Okay.
And he's like, you're being dramatic. And he thought it was awful too.
Okay.
But I swear to God, it was one of the worst things
Wow.
I've ever seen in my life. It was bad, especially because it's coming from Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah.
This like competent director. And like I knew it was supposed to be bad, but I've seen his movies and even his bad ones I kind of like.
Yeah.
Didn't prepare me for this one.
Oh,
it was rough. Dude.
Really?
Yeah, it's like...
And does it have Adam Driver in it?
Who is horrible. There is not, I swear to God, not a single performance in this movie that is even slightly good.
Really?
It's shocking. Like, no, everyone sucks. I've heard people like Aubrey Plaza's in it too.
Okay.
And they're like, she's the only saving grace in the movie. I thought she was awful. Like, dude, I thought she was really bad. Because she's like, you can tell she's really trying to put some life in it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was really bad. It was so bad that, like, the plot is basically Adam Driver is like this architect genius.
Okay.
And he has this material he somehow made called Megalon.
Okay.
So basically, he wants to... They're in New York City, which is basically called New Rome in the movie. And he wants to build a utopia city called Megalopolis. So he's trying to build it out of this material.
So is it a futuristic movie?
It's like a... Yeah.
Like flying
Current
cars and stuff?
future-
Or?
No, it's like current time, but like
Interesting.
a little bit of future stuff in it.
Okay.
But dude, the city he wants to build is so hideous looking, and it looks like shit. It's the most god awful looking thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So basically, he's trying to do that, and then there's a mayor who plays Gus in Breaking Bad.
Oh, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah. So he's the other mayor who doesn't want that to be built, and he just wants to kind of improve New Rome as it is, or whatever.
Okay.
No dramatic tension at all. Nothing is happening. The acting is so bad. So throughout the movie, so this is kind of that plot point's going on. He wants to build his thing or whatever. For some reason, there's also a Russian satellite that is flying around Earth that is going to crash into Earth. Okay. And there's a scene, so it's going to crash over like somewhere random, like Lisbon or some shit. I can't remember. Okay. But then Dustin Hoffman is in the, or no, who is it? Who's the guy? Jason Schwartzman is in this movie.
Yeah.
Dustin Hoffman's also in it. So he has to go in to that guy Gus's office and tell him that the satellite is actually going to crash into New Rome. That's all he has to do.
Okay.
It was the worst acting I've ever seen, and all he had to do was say the satellite's going to crash into us, and he's like standing there all goofy, and it's just like even these minuscule parts of acting were horrible. But dude, I could go on about it. Shia LaBeouf is in it.
This is a pretty big cast.
Shia LaBeouf, John Voight, Dustin Hoffman, Adam Driver, Aubrey Plaza, all these big names, dude.
Wow.
You gotta watch it.
John Voight, the dentist?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, dude, he's horrible in it. There's scenes where he's like drunk in it. He was definitely drunk on set.
Really?
Oh, for sure. He's like, or he deserves an Oscar. But I was like, even Dylan was like, I think John Voight was just actually wasted during those scenes. Spoiler alert. Do you care about a spoiler?
I don't care.
Okay. There's a scene where John Voight shoots Aubrey Plaza with a bow and arrow.
Okay.
Through the chest.
Okay.
She comes into his room and he's hiding the bow and arrow under a blanket. And he's like, you like my boner? To her. Just ridiculous shit. It's like, what is going on? And then he whips over the blanket and pulls out the bow. It is a bow this big. Like, dude, a Dollarama bow. He pulls it back. There's no tension on him pulling it back. Shoots the arrow through her chest. Then starts shooting Shia LaBeouf in the butt.
What a joke. This sounds like a comedy.
You gotta watch the bow scene. I was laughing my ass off. Dylan and I were both laughing our ass off. We're like, what is going on?
Dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I could go on about it forever, but Shia LaBeouf with like a rat tail haircut. He does a lot of like cross-dressing in it too. He dresses as like a woman.
Okay.
I don't know. You got to watch it. It's like one of those movies where it's supposed to be epic.
Yeah.
But clearly it feels so small, you know? Like clearly it's like
where did the $120 million go to?
There's scenes where people are like rioting and there's like 28 people.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like, it feels like on a studio set. Everything is green screen. Dude, it was shocking.
That's too bad.
Yeah. People at the end of the movie clapped.
Oh.
Out of like
maybe
irony,
because it was over with?
Yeah, that's how I felt. I turned to Dylan, I'm like, I'm not clapping.
Yeah.
I think they clapped out of irony because everyone was laughing a lot at it, you know? And like, Dylan and I went to the interactive version.
Yeah.
So Francis Ford Coppola wanted it. There's a scene where Adam Driver's being interviewed.
Okay.
So all of a sudden the screen goes black and at the bottom there's a little square with Adam Driver's head in it for no reason. And then someone from the theater staff is supposed to come up to the screen and interact with Adam Driver on the screen.
Okay.
So either the Highland screwed up or something, but we're watching the movie and all of a sudden someone comes running down the aisle in like a trench coat with a fedora on. I'm like, that looks like a active shooter. I got a little freaked out. I'm like, who's in the fedora?
Okay.
He runs over, grabs a mic, stands there. The lights come up. So Dylan and I are like, oh, it's the interactive part. Doesn't say anything. Just stands there with the mic. The lights go down and that's it. That was the interactive part. So I Googled it and that's all that's supposed to happen.
Wait.
The person's just supposed to stand up by the screen.
Was there audio? Was there like
in the movie
dialogue?
of a guy asking Adam Driver a question? Adam Driver's talking, but the theater staff just stood by the screen with a mic in his hand.
Is there audio of another person speaking?
Yeah.
So he's just supposed to be lip syncing.
I guess. I don't know. It was a disaster. A disaster.
Sounds funny.
I mean, I was laughing a lot because the acting. Have you seen any clips online?
No.
There's like, just look up Adam Driver saying, now get back to the club.
Okay.
Everyone in the theater started laughing their ass off. It's
Yeah.
like, the acting.
Well, I'll admit you duped me on the post because I saw you posted it. I'm like, it changed his life.
Oh, I added boo sounds though.
Oh, I didn't hear the audio.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So that, well, you duped me still. So
Yeah.
I saw it and I was like, oh wow, he must have really enjoyed himself because he put he went through the work of putting Adam Driver's face on your head and clapping and standing beside the poster. I was like, damn, it must have been really good. I've never heard of it.
Dylan and I have been waiting forever to see it. And we missed it in the main theaters because it lasted like a week and a half because no one was going to see it. So then the Highland had it and we're like, okay, we have to go just because we've heard it's a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
But again, I was on the movie side. I like Francis Ford Coppola's bad movies. And this was just like next level. There's some interesting stuff in it, but the acting is unforgivable and everything's unforgivable.
Damn.
You got to see it just to laugh your ass off.
I'll have to check
Just
it out.
Shia LaBeouf is insane in it. I had my head in my hands at one point because I was so disgusted at how bad this movie was. I was sitting there like this. And I guess Dylan told me when I was looking down, I missed Shia LaBeouf's bush. So,
Whoa.
I know. It's the wrong time to. Dylan was saying that either he could see me laughing or putting my hands in my head the whole movie. It's like, oh, God. But yeah. I feel bad for the man, kind of, because it's like all that money and it bombed.
Well, something went wrong somewhere. Like either he just dreamt too big and it just didn't turn out. Like I feel like if you're spending $120 million, you're obviously spending a lot on this big blockbuster cast.
Yeah.
And maybe his writing and directing just sucked.
The writing is brutal. And the plot is like there's so much happening at one time that it's like it feels like a movie that should have been 4 hours and then he cut down to 2.5.
Jeez.
But that can't be true because it's his own movie. He funded it. It's all him.
Wow.
So it's like just make it longer and like make it easier to follow, It really feels like a chopped up movie. Like stuff is happening, you're like, why did that even happen? It's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
It's confusing. There's some embarrassing sex scene between Aubrey Plaza and Shia LaBeouf, which is like, that was when I had my head in my hand. I'm like, I can't even watch this. This is like awful. This is embarrassing. It was bad.
That's too bad.
Yeah. Hilarious. I'm sure it'll become like a classic in
cult classic or
bad
something like
movies.
that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, I guess it just goes to show that like money doesn't get you everything, right? If, like if you spend $120 million, you don't need $120 million to make an amazing movie.
No, and it's
right?
like
it's like maybe that's what he was thinking. Like, I need the biggest budget possible to achieve this, and it's like that's not really the case. Like,
no, and like look at like the new movie, the Red one with like Dwayne the Rock Johnson, and that movie has like a $230 million budget. And there's this big epic movie coming out this year called The Brutalist with Adrian Brody, and it's like epic and big, and it had a $10 million budget.
Okay.
So it's like you can get away with a lot.
Yeah.
Either hiring this whole big cast was a mistake, and you had to like a lot of money went to them. I don't know. I don't know where the money went, and it was confusing. It was confusing.
Oh God. Well,
yeah. So go see it, and then we'll talk about it. Don't go see it. Watch it when it's free.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Don't waste my money.
No, I was mad. I gave it money. I'm like,
Damn.
no. But yeah,
I'll wait till I can like stream it or something.
Yeah, for sure. I would just be interested to hear your thoughts on it. Yeah, or I should watch it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
I'm all for bad movies because I like to rip on them as they're happening. So if it's like a movie that's not really worth seeing, then yeah.
And like we watched Most Wanted Santa, which is way worse. But I mean, this is like fun to rip on because it's such like a known big one of like America's best directors.
It's almost unbelievable because it's like you got this like star-studded cast and like this really reputable director. It's like,
and it's a passion project too.
And it's like, what can go wrong?
Everything.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. It's like when we seen like The Hobbit, and it was like Peter Jackson is back on it, right? Like you got oh God, what's his name? Martin Freeman.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And you still have Ian McKellen in it, right? So it's like, dude, this is gonna be sick.
Yeah.
We watched them, and I did not like them. It's just like it's too much CGI. It's just
for
like
sure.
it's too new, and it's just it's and like even we heard it's like Peter Jackson is just like sitting on set, just like his hands between his heads, like doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, and making it up on the spot.
Yeah.
Like apparently it was gonna be all practical and all this interesting stuff, and then he just went restart and then was like staying up all night rewriting it.
Yeah. It's
Just-
like there's a scene where you can see Ian McKellen. He's like in Bilbo's house.
Yeah.
It's like behind the scenes, and you can see that he's getting like all
Yeah,
frustrated.
he's like almost crying. He's
Yeah.
like, "This is not why I got into acting."
This is not. Yeah. And I was like, damn. Like, so it really just was
Yeah.
just
Such a jump from the first movie to this one. It must
I
have been
know.
like for Ian McKellen, like we did
Yeah.
these scenes practical where I was sitting at the table before.
Yeah.
You know,
literally.
why am I all like surrounded by green shit now?
Yeah, and he has no actors.
And no
in front
actors
of him, right?
around
So
him, which sadly is the state of movies now. You know.
Yeah.
So I guess actors have to adapt, but it'd be hard.
it would be hard for me to be like, okay, there's a giant dragon in front of you. It's
Yeah,
like,
where? Right where that ball is, that green ball with like the dots on it.
that little tennis ball. That's the dragon. Oh, come on.
Yeah, God.
Give me like just a poster of it or
Yeah,
something,
or at least like paint a scary face on it or
Yeah.
something. You know, frowny face. Or, I don't know.
yeah. I don't know. It's like the same thing almost, right? Maybe that wasn't a passion project, but it's like same
Yeah.
sort of thing. Big cast, you know.
Oh, for
big
sure, and a
director.
lot. You know what I mean? A lot of expectation, but
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Francis Ford Coppola has had so many misses that I don't think anyone was expecting a masterpiece. But I don't think they were expecting this.
Yeah.
You know, so interesting. It's interesting to watch. It's like Dylan said, it's like you're viewing something you feel like you shouldn't be seeing. You're like, this is just wrong.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I almost feel bad.
What's going on? We're seeing movies with bushes and boners now.
I
Like,
know.
what
I
is-
missed the bush. Thank God, because that scene was hard to watch. So I honestly, I'm like, ugh, it gives me a bad taste. Just
God.
bad. Aubrey Plaza. I feel like every movie she's in, they make her like do all these sex scenes. I don't know. Every movie.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. I guess just
She's like, I don't know. I'm just like, give the girl a role where she doesn't have to do that.
she can like prove herself. I guess. I don't
Yeah,
know. She's
or
not
just like, I just-
a sex icon or
Yeah, and
whatever.
she obviously doesn't care what I mean. Like, she had to pretend to have sex with Robert De Niro and Dirty Grandpa.
Oh,
Like, ooh,
yeah.
don't make the poor girl do that.
Yeah. Pay her more than De Niro.
Oh, totally. Pay her the whole salary.
Yeah.
She has to like climb on top of that, you know, dust bag. But yeah, all right.
Should we get into our top
We
five?
probably should.
Okay. Since I started last time, I think you should start this time.
Okay.
Are we doing honorable mentions? Ones
Yeah,
that
we
just
will.
didn't quite make the list, I guess.
So yeah, because I feel like what got me into movies was horror movies.
Right.
Like I've been in like, yeah, I wasn't into movies, and then I started watching YouTube channels like people showing like top 20, goriest horror movies, and I'm like, oh, I want to see all these. So then, like when I was in early high school or before I started buying movies and watching them. So for a long time, I only watched horror movies. So I feel like I've seen like a billion.
Yep.
But then my taste kind of changed, and I would still say like every 5 movies I watch is a horror movie, but I wouldn't say like, yeah, my taste has changed now. So it was hard for me to figure out of all the horror movies I've seen which ones are like my favorite ones.
Well, I remember seeing like your movie shelf sometimes, and it's like you'd have a collection of DVDs, VHSs, and all that stuff, and it's
Yeah.
like, dude, this movie looks wild.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I think you would tell me about it and be like, oh yeah, it's this movie or whatever. And it's like, I don't know. Like, I remember we would sit down and like watch Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah, we made sure we were like, let's eat food and watch
Yeah,
Cannibal Holocaust
Subway.
at the same time. Subway, yeah.
Necrophiliac, like all these kind of
God.
kind of obscure movies, like really out there.
Yeah, made to
Just like
disturb, I guess.
Yeah, disturb you.
Like Necrophiliac, I still think about that movie sometimes. Like there's certain scenes that are like burned in my brain.
that's a little weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember seeing like movies like that on your shelf, and like, yeah, you had like quite the collection.
For sure, yeah.
right?
And I still have that collection. It's just now I don't buy as many movies, and if I do, I miss the days like when I was first buying horror movies. It was like they just had a certain feeling, like looking at the covers and like
Yeah.
in high school, like I didn't have any money, so like my mom occasionally would give me money to buy stuff for lunch, so I'd pocket that, and then I'd go to the movie store and like I'd have like $12 to figure out what horror movie I'm gonna buy.
Yeah.
So I'd be in Cinema One for like an hour and a half looking at every movie, trying to figure out which one I could afford that I would want to watch for $12.
Starve yourself just to get a horror movie.
Yeah, literally, because like I would try to watch like a horror movie a night back then. You know, if I didn't have a horror movie to watch, I hated it. So it was like, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, and then trying to find all the most disturbing ones. You know, I
Yeah.
like doing. Now I'm definitely not a fan of that, but and I still have an interest though. I still like learning about weird, gross films out there.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's a bit of a history to the horror, but
Yeah.
So I'll start with my number 5.
Your honorable mention first.
my honorable
One
mention.
that just didn't quite make your top 5.
Okay.
We did that last time.
Now I'm gonna try not to talk too much, but the honorable mention was tough for me because the thing with horror, there's like I have favorite slashers, but would those slashers be my favorite horror movie? Like I have my favorite body horror movies or gooey horror movies.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like if we did like top 5 slashers, that would be easier than top 5 all-time
All-time horror movies.
horror movies. Yeah, but honorable mentions, I would say. God, I don't know. There's too many. Like, you know what I mean? If I was talking about like modern horror, I would say Hereditary would be very close. Mm-hmm. I like Ari Aster. I like all his movies. They're not that I love them, but they're always interesting. High Tension. You've seen High Tension.
We've seen. Yeah, that's true.
That was so close to going on my top 5.
Yeah.
But the ending blows it for me.
Yeah.
The ending is just, you know, I don't like it at all. So I love the movie though. Anyone out there, watch High Tension if you want like a intense, fun horror movie. You know, and then there's just like a bunch of slashers that we're going to go on, like The Burning or just all this different stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. There's too many honorable mentions.
Okay. Well, that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll yeah, any one of those, I guess. We'll go
Any
with
one of
that.
those. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you're we'll start with, should I go my honorable mention?
You should go your honorable
Okay.
mention, yeah.
Okay. So kind of disclaimer, I don't watch a lot of horror movies. Just not something like that like really attracts me. Like again, I'll really watch a horror movie if like I'm with you.
Yeah.
Right? It's not something I really like seek out to go watch. It's just not like really like my type of movie that I'll watch. So my list might be a little basic, I'll say. So don't judge me.
My list is on the basic side too.
Yeah,
so.
okay.
Yeah, for a part of it, yeah.
I'll start with honorable mention. I guess this can hopefully count as a horror. It Comes at Night.
Yeah, I've never seen that movie. God,
It was a pretty cool
should
movie.
watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a cool movie. I think it's just like stylistically, it was nice. It was just a, yeah. And it wasn't like anything like too crazy where it was like a slasher. It was like, I'm trying to remember it in terms of like the plot. I think it has like to do with some sort of outbreak or something, or some sort of like monster.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta look it up real quick.
Yeah, Joel Edgerton.
Joel Edgerton, isn't it? I'm just trying to look at the. Yeah, I think it's like some sort of like. Maybe it's like a supernatural sort of thing. Anyways, it was a cool movie. Kind of low key. I feel like it wasn't like trying to be anything too major. So
I've heard it's intense.
yeah, it was a cool one. I think there was like a couple scenes I was like, ooh, that's like, ooh, it's pretty.
Yeah, I've heard it's
Intense, like,
depressing.
eerie.
Did you find it depressing? I've heard people be like,
been
that movie's
so
so
long
depressing.
since I've seen it, so
I
it's like-
remember when you watched it. I feel like
Yeah.
I remember you talking about it.
And like I think that's why it's an honorable mention, because it hasn't really stuck with me in terms of like, it wasn't that memorable, and it's not a bad movie. Not that it's like not memorable in that way. It's just like, you know, not something that I would like really say like it would make a top 5. So that's why it was good. It was good to watch and stuff, but
Yeah.
not really something that like quite made it.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I gotta watch that.
It was a cool movie.
Yeah,
I gotta watch it again. So if you decide to watch it, then we should do it together. So
Yeah.
it's just because I haven't seen it in like years.
Yeah. Joel Edgerton has a face that like I don't know if I like his face or just like it kind of reminds me of like Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
He has an interesting face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like an older Haley Joel Osment or whatever.
yeah. Just not as round as
Yeah,
that guy.
not as round,
yeah. But yeah, all right. Should I go into my
What's your number five?
So my number 5 is a movie from 1974 called Deranged: Confessions of a Necrophile.
Jesus.
Which okay, that sounds way worse than it is. I didn't even realize it was called Confessions of a Necrophile until I was looking it up, and I'm like, oh, that's the full title.
Okay.
You know. But no, this is a great movie. It came out in 1974, so the same year as Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and they're both based off the same kind of serial killer.
Yep.
Ed Gein or Ed Gein.
Okay.
So this is like a Canadian movie too. Basically, it's just about the actor in it too is named Robert Blossom. He plays the serial killer.
Yep.
He's the old man from Home Alone. Remember Home Alone? You ever seen Home
that
Alone?
guy.
Yeah. And in Home Alone, he's like supposed to be a killer or whatever that the kids talk about. So in this movie, he's actually a killer.
Wow.
But it's just about him. He like lives with his mom in a farmhouse. His mom has like raised him to be like misogynistic and like hate women. She dies. Basically, he misses her so much that he digs her up and then like keeps her in bed, like her corpse in bed, and then starts to realize like she's so decayed that he needs to like he tries to fix her with like fish skin and wax and all this stuff, and then he realizes he needs fresh bodies to kind of like add to her and to keep her company. So he starts robbing graves, and like filling his house with corpses, and then starts murdering people to get like the freshest bodies or whatever. You know?
Okay.
This movie is so good. It's on Tubi. It's also on YouTube for free, which I recommend watching on YouTube because they have the uncut version, which I didn't have when I first watched it. So it cuts out like there's a scene where he's like scooping out brains out of a head and like pulling out their eyeballs.
Okay.
So you don't get that in the cut version, which that's what you want, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but like this movie feels like death and it feels like a funeral. And like Tom Savini, who's like a big effects guy, he did the effects in this film. And the corpses, man, look so good.
Really?
Like, they're not over the top rotting. They look like if you were to dig a corpse out that's been there for a little bit. That's how I picture them looking. Like, deflated looking and like ragdollish.
Yeah.
Yeah, just really good. It's like, I remember when I first watched it, the scene, like, the person who plays the mom, her name is Cosset Lee. She hasn't really been in anything. Terrifying face. But when she dies, he's like feeding her like pea soup, and she's like, "Women, don't go near women, they'll take your money." And then she starts going, "Bah!" And all this blood starts shooting out of her nose into the soup, and he's like still trying to feed it to her. I just remember when I first saw that scene as a kid, it was like, ugh, fucking made me feel pretty gross.
Interesting.
But yeah, very gross movie. Feels like a funeral. The soundtrack is like this old hymn, and it just adds this weird vibe to it. Very like slow burn, but I'd recommend it. It's good.
Okay. Interesting.
It's not as bad as the title sounds. Confessions of a Necrophile. He's not, yeah. I don't even think the real killer was a necrophiliac guy like Necrophile. I think Necrophile also means you're just like obsessed with death.
Oh, is it
bodies?
Based on a true story or something?
Yeah, based off like a real murderer named Ed Gein. And in the movie, his name's Ezra Cobb, and he always goes, "Yism, yism, yism." But yeah, very good movie. It's on Tubi. Go ahead and watch it.
Okay. Okay, so my number 5 is Don't Breathe.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Yeah.
I think I remember when I seen the trailer, I was like, oh, it doesn't look like that horrifying. The ending is pretty like disturbing. Have you seen it?
Yeah, me and you watched it together.
Did we watch it together?
Yeah.
Okay.
We watched it for the first time together. Yeah.
I mean, like, this movie's been out for a while, so I mean, like, if you haven't seen it, I guess, like, whatever, spoilers incoming. It was a cool movie. Like, I like the whole like aspect of like there's a blind guy in a house and they're like, oh, let's go rob it. See what's in there or whatever, right? Because I think there's like rumors that he's like rich or something like that, or he's got
I can't remember what they're trying to get. Yeah, exactly.
Precious stuff
for
in
sure.
there.
Yeah.
But the ending, dude, like that disturbed me.
I remember.
Because I was like, I feel like that's not something that's like in a lot of like modern horror.
No, and it's way out there too. As in like, ooh, they did that. You know, they really went there.
Yeah. So I'll spoil the ending. So basically there's 3 people that like enter in a house. One of them's a girl, 2 of them are like guys.
Yeah.
Anyways, the girl like gets like kidnapped in this blind guy's basement, and he's like this just deranged psychopath, and he has like another girl down there who's like kidnapped, like tied up or whatever. So he's like, it has something to do with he's going to like impregnate them with like a turkey baster or something like that. It's something like that. Yeah,
it's like the one girl like can't get, or someone like he couldn't have like a daughter or something with someone, so now he's like trying to inseminate them with.
Yeah. I was like, dude,
with a turkey baster.
That is messed up. Like I seen that, I was like, I was like horrified.
I know,
like,
and it's gross because that turkey baster is like full. And
yeah.
like,
yeah. But they get him back.
They do. Yeah. How do they do that?
So she somehow like gets loose, and then she like jams the turkey baster down his throat.
Yes.
I was like, okay, that's good payback.
Oh yeah, like, totally. And she's like,
yeah. So it's a very sort of like disturbing part. Mm-hmm. But I think that's what you want to do as horror, is you want to disturb, but also tell a story in a way. It's like it makes sense. These people want to rob a house and stuff. It's like it's it's not like a totally outlandish story. It makes sense, but then,
and it's one of those stories too where it's like the main characters are robbing a blind man, so you don't honestly like them.
Yeah.
But then you kind of are like, oh, the blind guy's way worse than they are.
Definitely.
So I don't want them to get out.
Yeah, and it's a very tense movie because while they can't make a sound, because I guess this guy is just like his like sense of like hearing is like so heightened.
Yes, yeah.
That like a little creak in the floor, he's like, he knows where you are.
Yeah.
So it's a very tense movie if you want to watch something you haven't seen it before.
It's the guy who directed the Evil Dead remake and Alien Romulus,
Fede Alvarez. Yeah. So it's got Stephen Lang, is the blind man, Jane Levy, Dylan Minnette, and then Daniel Zavato.
Yeah.
Those are like the main characters. Crazy movie. Mm-hmm. Pretty twisted.
Yeah. I remember those scenes too because they're the blind guy like either doesn't have his lights on or turns out the lights. So there's the scenes where they actually filmed in the dark.
Yeah.
And, like the actors' like eyes, you can tell they're like actually in a dark room.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like
I've seen that in the trailer.
They can't see anything.
Yeah. I just seen that as I pulled it up, but it was I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Cool. There's a sequel.
It does. I haven't seen the sequel.
No, me neither. Maybe we should watch that one day. Yeah.
Don't
with the same blind guy. It's like I can't remember how that ending.
Is it like a prequel?
I think it's a sequel, and I think the blind guy kind of, I don't want to say too much, but I think they kind of twist it where now you're rooting for the blind guy.
Huh.
I don't know. I don't know. I'd be interested to see it.
Well, I guess we'll have to watch it.
I remember Don't Breathe being brutal, like when we were watching it. Like,
pretty
brutal.
Disturbing.
Yeah. He's like picking off those robbers one by one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one guy gets shot. I don't know what happens to the other guy, but...
Yeah. I can't remember. Yeah. I just remember it being pretty hardcore.
Yeah. And I didn't expect that, honestly. Like, I think when we went into it, I was like, oh, this will be like pretty standard.
Yeah.
Right? Like, people get shot, people get killed. But it's like, when that ending came, dude, I was like, oh, this is like a whole different level.
Oh, for sure.
Of like...
Yeah.
Disturbing.
Fede Alvarez, I feel like he likes his visceral like violence. That's why I was shocked with the Alien Romulus. I thought it was going to be like, okay, don't breathe, but in a ship or something. You know?
Yeah. So that's my number 5.
Nice. All right. Again, this was so tough to decide, but so I went off movies that I've seen a lot and that I'll always watch again and again. So like with Deranged, I watched it every year, especially around Christmas because it's real snowy, the movie and everything, very wintry.
Yep.
So number 4 is a movie I've seen a million times and I'll always watch it. Anytime, any place. It's called Parents from 1989. It's directed by a guy named Bob Balaban, who you know who he is. He plays the NBC boss in Seinfeld.
Bob Balaban.
Do you know like the NBC boss in Seinfeld who becomes obsessed with Elaine?
Okay, yeah.
Little guy with the glasses. Yeah. He's also in a bunch of Wes Anderson movies, and he's in my favorite movie I mentioned in the last podcast, Midnight Cowboy.
Oh.
He gives John Voight a blowjob. So, whoa. Yeah. But yeah, so he directed this, which is interesting. Yeah. I really like that guy.
Yeah.
And it stars Randy Quaid, who, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Cousin Eddie, or whatever his name is.
Yep.
So basically, and then a child actor named Brian Modorsky, who he was only in this, which is crazy because he's so good. But it's just basically about this kid and his 2 parents, and they move into like a suburb in 1950. And he starts to believe, the child, that his parents are cannibals and eating people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like a twist. I like movies that are like twists on suburbia, you know?
Right.
It's like a normal suburb, but beneath that is something horrible going on, you know?
Yep.
The music, the direction, there's a lot of interesting like visuals, dream sequences. Mm-hmm. And you're never sure if it's Randy Quaid is a cannibal or if the child there's something wrong with him.
Okay.
Like it might be the child visualizing things that he's not seen, and he might have like a mental problem, you know?
Yeah.
But just super good. Randy Quaid's performance is so good in it. He's so creepy and scary and funny though at the same time, and like just the parents' relationship, it's like a little too close for some reason, you know, and just like I don't know. It's an odd movie. It's definitely like very unique. I'm sure it's like a cult classic movie. It's not that well known, but super entertaining. I think it's on Tubi as well. So if you want to go
Wow.
watch it, yeah, it's like
There you
80
go.
minutes. Yeah, it just reminds me like David Lynch movies where it's like suburbia, but
Yeah.
beneath that normal attitude that people have, there's a lot of different things going on. You know?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But yeah, super good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Number 4 for me. Can
What?
you guess?
See, okay, I'm scared to guess because I don't want to guess one that's already on your list. Can you give me a hint?
2013. That's the year it came out.
Yeah. Did we see it together?
Oh yeah.
We did.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't have seen this by myself. I think you probably dragged me.
What the hell? I don't
You
know.
didn't drag me, but you were like, "Let's go see it."
Really?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have seen it by yourself. I don't know. What is it?
Evil Dead.
Oh my god! Shit. Okay. See, I was gonna guess that, but I thought it was 2012.
The 2013 Evil Dead movie.
Yes. Okay.
Dude. Crazy.
I remember that movie being like, "Damn, what the?"
It was like
yeah.
that movie was was it who was that also directed?
Yeah,
no, that was
Fede Alvarez.
was it the same one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I just like his horror movies. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely have a style.
Where is it here? It's got there it is. Yeah, that movie, dude, just high intensity. I'm not gonna spoil it too much because I feel like I shouldn't be spoiling movies. But just insanity. I feel like all the way through.
Yeah.
Like it definitely sets a tone for like how like intense. Like even just from the beginning, it's just like, ooh, this is like. This doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I don't know, it's just intense.
Yeah, and wet and like
Very like wet from like rain and
like
stuff
the
like
outside is wet and bleak and like
And I feel like the girl, what's her character's name, like Mia or something like that, right? It's like
the same actress from Don't Breathe.
Is it the same chick?
Yeah,
no
it's the same
way.
chick. Yeah,
no way.
whatever her name is.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh my god. See, I didn't recognize her. That's crazy. But yeah, really good movie. The like violence, if you're into that kind of stuff, is like just turned up to the max.
It is turned out to the max.
It's such a cool movie. Like I said, I'm not into horror movies, but like this one was like just like holy crap.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
This was just like cool too. I mean, like the way they like like this.
Yes.
Like
the cutting of the
tongue with the X-Acto knife. I was like, oh god, like that's just brutal. Like you imagine it like to yourself, right? So it's like,
yeah. Oh yeah. There was like a lot of scenes, like the needles in the guy's eye,
yeah,
or whatever that when he's like pulling it out of his skin. I can't remember why those needles are in there. Like they were shot at him or something.
Nail gun.
Nail gun. Yeah.
There's like the part where the chick is like is like in the basement, and like the hatch is like popped up a little bit, and she's like singing to them or whatever. Dude, that scene like just terrified me.
Yeah.
Crazy. Good movie. Just turned all the way up to 11.
Oh, for sure.
And yeah,
I remember 2013, so that's when I was like into gore effects and everything.
Yeah.
So everyone was all worried. Oh, is the Evil Dead gonna like have crappy gore
feel
effects
like
and
it held
CGI?
up.
It was like super intense.
Yeah.
I feel like it was all practical with a little CGI touch up, which is fine.
Yeah.
Maybe to like up the color and all this different stuff. But
Yeah.
like the scene where the chick is cutting off her arm with
Yeah.
like the turkey shaver thing or whatever the hell it is. It's like and it's just like spraying. Like that movie has like the blood just sprays everywhere.
Yeah.
And it looks great.
it looks really good.
Yeah.
It's a cool movie.
Yeah, I was watching scenes from that movie recently, actually, and like it looks good, like
Yeah.
the movie itself too. Like it looks visually pleasing.
Yeah,
you know?
I think like the makeup on like some of like the demons or whatever are just like, ooh,
Yeah. Oh,
like,
for
just,
sure.
it just looks so eerie.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
Just crazy.
Yeah, that should have been in my honorable mention as the 3 Evil Deads too, the first ones,
Yeah.
for sure. But,
Yeah.
yeah. I should watch that again. Actually, did you see the newest Evil Dead, the high rise
No.
one? No, it was alright.
It's all right.
Yeah, but yeah, I remember going to see that. I remember the day perfectly. I think we went with Adam. I think it's me, you, and
Probably,
Adam. Yeah. I mean, like, oh damn.
I was like kind of. I feel like I was probably stressed out watching that movie.
Were
Like,
you?
I was like, oh
No.
my god.
Dragging you to watch Cannibal Holocaust, all this like gross stuff.
Yeah.
It's so funny. But yeah, I like his movies. They definitely have a style.
They
you know?
do.
Yeah.
I feel like no, those are my only two Fede Alvarez movies on here. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. No, that's a good pick.
Number
number 3. So now I start to get into more known territory.
Okay.
So my number 3 is Dead Alive, or Brain Dead.
Okay.
Directed by Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
It's a movie we watched back in the day for sure.
Yep.
With like my cousins. before I was even into horror movies, we kind of knew about that movie.
Yeah.
So we'd all like huddle around the computer and watch scenes on YouTube.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, we got to watch this movie. And we were going to do the thing where we eat and watch it. Like we were going to eat Hamburger Helper and watch Dead Alive or whatever, you know? But
Lots of tomato sauce.
Yeah. As a kid, it's like I was super into gore effects. And I feel like there's so much gore in this movie and gore effects that like I didn't fully appreciate it. It kind of desensitizes you. Mm-hmm. But watching it now, I'm like, so yeah, it's directed by Peter Jackson. I don't know if I said that. It's from 1992, New Zealand. But watching it now, it is like such a feat of filmmaking, I feel like. And that's why I appreciate it. I'm like, whenever I watch commentaries on horror movies, they talk about how brutal it is working with practical effects and how everything goes wrong. Mm-hmm. This movie is like one continuous practical effect. But Peter Jackson directs it in a way that there's like the scene in the house where all the zombies are attacking and he has the lawnmower and he's like mowing them all down. Yeah. It's so chaotic, but he directs all the gore in a way that you know exactly what's going on, who's where. It never just feels like, oh, here's a gore scene, here's a gore scene. It all feels like pieced together.
Yeah.
And it's not mean-spirited, which I think is like a big thumbs up to the movie, you know?
Yeah, I think when because we were telling Jess about like Terrifier 3.
Yeah.
And then you brought up Dead Alive.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, you're kind of saying the same thing. It's not mean-spirited. It's almost like kind of goofy gory.
Yeah.
Like it's not like trying to be too serious.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So, and I get that too. When we watched it, I was like, oh, this is like entertaining for that like aspect.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
So
Yeah, it's supposed to like, and I remember Jess is like, you know, how can violence not be mean-spirited? And then that's like a hard question to answer, you know? Yeah. It's like, it's known as the goriest movie ever. So, I mean, if you're not into gore, then you probably won't like it, but he's setting out to like give you a good time. Mm-hmm. And gross you out, but not disturb you. Like you're supposed to be gross out, like when you're eating the pudding with the pus in it and everything like that. You know, it's like, it's supposed to gross you out. But I get why, like I was saying this before, why they got him to direct Lord of the Rings. Because like, I think this movie is underrated, Dead Alive, as like a feat. It's a real feat, you know? It's like, damn, you really, like, it seems like an almost impossible movie to make, you know?
Who is the main actor in that movie?
So his name is Timothy Balm. He plays Lionel. And then, so they're all kind of unknown New Zealand actors.
Right.
I thought he might have been this one actor from like, he looks very similar to another actor from New Zealand who's in bigger movies like Hardcore Henry.
He Charlton Copley.
Yeah, he kind of looks like that guy.
That's who I thought. I was like, is it just he's just young in it? But no, he looks old.
Yeah. And then it stars like Paquita is played by Diana. I can't pronounce her name, Penalver, but she was like a big famous Spanish actor at the time.
Paquita. Oh yeah.
So in like soap operas, then she went over to New Zealand.
Her name was just Paquita.
Oh no!
And I was like, is she like a singer or something? Like what's going on?
But yeah, super funny movie too. Makes me laugh a lot. There's a scene where it's like the zombie baby and he's taken to the park. It's just like comes out of nowhere, but it's so funny.
Yeah.
The way it like waddles and everything, and just
like a little rat or whatever. It's like in stop motion too.
Yeah, like because it's like the mom gets bit by a rat at a zoo. Or whatever, a zombie rat. Yeah. From Skull Island, the same island that King Kong's from.
Wow.
And then he directed King Kong.
Wow.
So interesting. They all
same universe maybe.
Oh, totally. In the new King Kong movie that he directed, there's a little box on the ship that has the rat.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's funny.
So yeah, just a good movie. I know it was like funded by the New Zealand government because they're like, we want to get us on the map for movie making.
Yeah.
So we're gonna make something insane. Give him a shitload of money.
Go all out.
Yeah, because I always wondered, how did he get the budget for all this? It must have cost $1 million. Then I found out it was the government trying to like get New Zealand on the map. So they're just like, a splatter flick is the perfect way to do that. It'll build up buzz, you know.
Yeah.
And then it must have kind of worked because
Lord of the Rings
down the line, Lord of the Rings and all this stuff, you know. Yeah, interesting.
Cool.
But yeah, watch it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah. My number 3. I totally forgot about that one. Number 3, it kind of gets away from splatter, and more like atmospheric.
Yeah, yours hasn't been basic yet so far. This has been a good list.
More atmospheric sort of horror. Yeah. So it's not gory. It's just like, in my opinion, terrifying.
Yeah.
Woman in Black.
With Daniel Radcliffe. Yeah. Okay, I haven't seen that. We watched that at the theater.
That movie terrified me. It had me always looking over my shoulder, and that's what I liked about it. It wasn't cheap jump scares. It wasn't in your face. There was maybe 1 or 2 moments where it was like in your face, but it was a lot of atmospheric and just showing it for what it is. Right? It shows a shot from like far away, and it's like something's happening in the frame, and it's kind of disturbing. But basically it follows Daniel Radcliffe, who's kind of like this, I don't know what his like job title would be, but essentially is he like
Is he like a keeper of a house or
something like that? He's like going to this house, I think, to do like, I don't know, like kind of like an audit or something. I don't know. He's essentially like going through all this paperwork at this mansion that kind of like gets hit with like high tides. It gets separated from like the town, so it's just like, what's it called, the marsh of something. But dude, this movie, yeah,
I remember it again. I've only seen it once, but I remember it being tense in the theater seeing it.
Yeah, it freaked me out. Like, it's just giving me the shivers thinking about
really?
it right
now. I can't remember it well enough for that to happen, but yeah,
because like I said, it's a lot of atmospheric sort of horror. It gets you one of those things, like, it's like, look in the background, because I feel like there's always something kind of like happening in the background behind the character, and it's not in your face. It's just like something kind of moves and you're like, ooh,
yeah, which
what was
is
that?
Scary,
right?
Yeah.
And that's why it like terrified me, because like if I would go home, I went home after that movie and I was like, I'm stressed. I just can't. Like, I feel like there was the one scene there was the one scene where like the ghost or whatever, it's a ghost movie, is like up in the corner. And then she does like this, like, no, the rocking chair is rocking or something like that. And then he's like going and looking at it, and he like looks up, and then there's like the woman or whatever is like up in the top corner of the room, and she just like does like this big sweep. Oh, it's
really? Oh shit!
Crazy.
Okay. I kind of remember that. Yeah.
And again, I think that's probably like the only one where it's like in your face sort of jump scare.
Yeah.
The rest is sort of like, it just happens, and it's atmospheric.
Yeah.
And it does a good job. Like, the set design is really good. It looks like
it's like 1800s or something too, right?
Yeah. And there's lots of stuff. Like, it doesn't just happen in the house. Like, he goes to the town to like ask the townsfolk, and they're like, yep, our children are dying or whatever, because this woman who's the ghost or whatever is terrorizing the town.
Okay.
For her child dying in the marsh or something like that, and some people didn't help her or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's something like that. So it's like she's taking revenge, but it's so it doesn't stay in just the house. Like, he goes to the town and like sees the woman or whatever.
Yes.
It's like, it's crazy. Daniel Radcliffe does a good job. But yeah.
Yeah, I need to watch that again, because I feel like on my list I didn't put any haunted house movie type of things, but I love a good, especially that style.
Yeah.
Where it's a little slow burn, and then there's a mystery underneath too, you know, of like, why is it happening and everything, and like I love going to the town and trying to figure it out. I love that kind of shit in my ghost movies.
And I like Daniel Radcliffe in it. I remember when we were seeing it, it was like Harry Potter, like
it was like kind of his first thing, right? Like after,
but he did a good job. I think he did a really good performance in the movie. The direction was really good, the writing, the story. That's my number 3.
Interesting. Okay, I wouldn't have guessed that, and now I need to watch it again. Because I don't remember much at all. Number 2. So this is a controversial pick. Okay,
for yourself.
For everyone. So I was talking to Dylan, and I was like, we're doing a top 5 list, and he had mentioned he watched this movie, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's on my list. You know, I didn't tell him the list, and he's like, that is not a horror movie.
Okay.
Then so I'm in a group chat with Dylan and all our friends, and we'd always just talk about movies, and I could show you 20 minutes of conversation arguing about whether this is a horror movie or not.
Okay.
I am on the side of it definitely being a horror movie.
Okay.
Dylan's saying it's a psychological thriller. I think it's a psychological horror thriller.
Okay.
All right. So it's 1990, directed by Rob Reiner. It's Misery.
Misery.
Yeah. Okay. Have you ever seen Misery?
I have not.
Dude, you should watch Misery. It's so damn good. You would love it. So I feel like it's a horror movie.
Okay.
Horror thriller. It's based off a Stephen King book, which is a horror book. Dylan, it's on record here, baby. It's a horror movie, but nah, it's like we're all on the same team, and then it's like Dylan and our friend Andrew, who's like, I don't know if it's a horror movie, you know, because they say it's not scary, but there's horrible things. So basically, the plot is it's a Paul Sheldon, an author, and he's at a hotel, and he's just finished his book.
Yep.
So he writes these serial novels, and then he's driving home in a snowstorm, and he runs off the road and his car flips.
Yep.
And then this chick named Annie picks him up, saves him, and it turns out she's his biggest fan ever.
Yeah.
So she starts keeping him in the house. She reads the book. She loves the Misery series, which he's writing.
Yeah.
And then the last book he wrote, which he had in the car when his car flipped, Misery dies at the end. So Annie like freaks out, flips out, keeps him in bed, and like forces him to write the new novel, basically. But I'd say it's a horror. There's horrible. First, it's a kidnapped guy.
Yep.
Being stuck in a house
With a psychopath.
Yeah, there's scary scenes. Like, it's also funny. Online it says like horror comedy or thriller comedy, but There's funny scenes just for how much of a spaz she is, and like she's kind of sweet, but then like she becomes more evil. There's scenes where he wakes up and she's standing over the bed and jabs him with a needle and like, breaks his legs with a hammer.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I'd say it's also just I get the thriller aspect because it's super super intense movie. I've seen it a million times, and there's still scenes that I know what's gonna happen, and I'm still like, come on,
Yeah.
It's super intense. Also, so watchable, so entertaining.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, and it's one of those things like there's just so many movies I haven't seen, classics and all that stuff. But I have heard good things about it.
There's one movie off this list, Jordan, that I'd say I want you to watch. It's Misery, because I know you'll like it.
Yeah,
it's just super entertaining. You have James Caan playing like Paul Sheldon. It's just like he's so good.
Yep.
Then you have an actor called Richard Farnsworth, who's like a cop in town trying to figure out where Paul Sheldon went. That actor's just so lovable. It's like you just love looking at him.
That's the wrong one.
Yeah, and I don't know. Again, a snowy vibe. All my movies have snowy vibes. Watch, like, it's a perfect time to watch it. I feel like people who like horror movies when Halloween's over, they're like, oh, spooky season is over. I think horror movies are best now until like February.
Interesting.
Like a cold winter night, put on a horror movie.
Yeah,
that's
you're
like
stuck.
Oh,
you're stuck,
yeah,
you can't
exactly.
move.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, but
You're shut in.
yeah. On IMDb, I think it says psychological thriller.
Okay.
On Letterboxd, it says horror thriller.
Okay.
It's kind of up to debate, but I'm putting it on the horror list because
Yeah.
it's horrific.
Let's see. What is IMDb? Did you say what IMDb said?
I think it's a psychological thriller, but take a look.
Sorry. Let's see. It says psychological drama, psychological thriller, drama, and thriller.
Not even horror on there?
Not even horror.
That's bull-loney.
Well,
Letterboxd says horror. When you look up best horror movies from Columbia Pictures, which I did, Misery comes up. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's your number 2?
That's my number 2. Yeah,
Okay.
just it's so entertaining. Again, a movie I could watch right now, and I would love it. It's it's just so watchable, so good. Yeah.
All right. My number 2. Are you ready? Can you guess?
I don't want to, because what if it's number 1?
You might have seen
I haven't seen.
No. So number 2.
I don't want to guess because I'm going to guess one that's on it, and then I'll...
Okay.
Yeah.
1982, The Thing.
Okay, I would have guessed that was on your list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what's not to like about the original Thing?
That's true.
Not the... Because there was like a very first one, like way back, called... I think it was called like The Thing from Outer Space or something.
Yeah, which I love that movie.
So the 1982 John Carpenter The Thing. I remember like first watching this. This was like a long time ago, the very first time. And dude, this movie was like, the practical effects in it are just like insane. And the reason why this one is kind of on my list is because of that. And it's that whole like, again, like the whole point, it's like they're shut in at like this research base in like Antarctica or whatever, and it's like this alien has got loose. Crazy.
Yeah.
And then I kind of got reminded of it because sometimes when I'm at work, I'll like just, if I'm doing nothing and I have a computer free, I'll like look up like movie scenes just from ones that I've seen before.
Yeah, nice.
And the 2011 The Thing came up a lot, and it was like all the death scenes pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what, I want to see this because I remember there's some that like, if it was done right, if it was done practically, it would have looked so much better.
Which it was. And then they scratched it all. They CGI'd over all of it.
It was all CGI.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? On writing and like the execution, like it would be a lot better if it was just practical. It would have been a lot more disturbing, right? Like the in the 2011 The Thing, the one guy who's in Game of Thrones, he's got like the red beard. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but he gets like this arm like attached and like crawls up his face and like essentially like latches onto his mouth, kind of like what the in the Alien movies are.
Yes.
The spider things. Face huggers. Yeah. It kind of like latches on. It's like sucking the life out of him. And then the one guy like who is the Thing is like crawling on his back towards the one guy that's like on the ground.
Yeah.
He like melts himself to the guy's face, like molds,
like fuse
together. I'm like, dude, it's such a cool thing to think of for like this alien who's just like molding into people's bodies.
Yeah.
And I was like, if it was just done a lot better and it didn't look like crap, it would have been so much more effective.
I know.
I'm trying to think of the other ones. Like,
because I feel like the whole there's a scene in the remake or the prequel of 2011 where the guy's in the plane and his face splits.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But yeah, it's like you're gonna alienate your base audience who want to see the thing because it's not the whole point, but the 80s thing is known for the effects.
Yeah.
So people are gonna go in expecting effects. It's just gonna happen, and you know it's gonna be practical because that's why they love it.
Yeah.
So how could you fuck it up that bad?
Yeah.
But I think it was a studio choice.
Probably.
Yeah, because I know it was. I think they did it over CGI. Like I think a lot of it was practical. You can watch the behind the scenes stuff. They have it all built.
That's crazy.
And then they just went, CGI it or something.
That's too bad.
Either it's getting too costly, and they're like, guys, this is like too much money. You know, just.
But it was like in the original. The one that was like insane was when the guy's like head comes off or whatever. And it's like turns in like this little spider thing and like starts crawling away.
Yes, yeah.
It's like, dude, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's so insane. So it's like you want to see that, and it's just such a cool movie because it gets the point across.
Oh, totally.
Great story.
Yeah. Good mystery because you don't know who's the thing the whole time.
Exactly. And they're trying to figure it out. They're like, so wait, like heat to someone's blood will see if it does anything, right? And then it's so tense because like everyone's in the room, they're like putting a hot pin in a sample of their blood, and it's like, who's the bad guy?
Yeah,
right? Because they all look human. Right?
Yeah.
So
then like go to put in the one guy's blood, then he's like,
he starts
shaking in the chair. Yeah, it's so good. It also has one of the great endings of all time, where it's again, I think it's okay to spoil it because everyone's seen this movie.
It's been out for so long.
Yeah, where there's just two people left, and you don't know who is the thing.
Yeah.
And one of them's the thing, and it's up for a big debate. People still debate it today. It's like, is Kurt Russell the thing? Is I can't remember the other actor's name. Is he the thing? Just interesting. Good like mystery. Yeah.
I'll add on to something real quick about the prequel. But it's like there's like this whole like end because they find like the spaceship or something like that locked in the like buried in the ice or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the last guy who's the thing, it was like his face is just like purely intact while everyone else's whoever was the thing was like the body was like all like dysmorphed and weird, and so like just a perfect cutout of his face like entering the frame, and I'm like, oh, that looks so stupid.
Really, God, I know.
I didn't even watch that one because I was like, I want to just rewatch because I remember when we first saw it, it was like, God, like the CGI just looked terrible.
I remember I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay. Because at that time, like, I still hate certain bad CGI, but at the time it was like unforgivable in a horror movie, you know, especially of The Thing. You know?
Yeah.
So I remember we were just like,
and it's like, man, you guys had so much potential because it's a prequel, and it's like, it starts off. Does it end? It ends with them like hunting the dog.
Yeah. So the 80s one starts with the dog.
So so it's like, man, you had such potential. It's like because you're kind of trying to find out like how it all started
for sure,
and I'll say the ending, it like that has the only thing going for it is like it just leads perfectly into the first one.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so like, you did that properly, but the rest just didn't like hold up, I feel.
Yeah, and it's not like they had to do anything crazy. You just almost had to make the same movie.
Yeah.
You know, have them discover the alien and the thing. What else can you do? They're all stuck in one little like base, you know. So it's like just make a similar movie. Make the practical effects awesome and up to date.
Yeah.
But somehow, I feel bad for the director because I wonder if he obviously wanted practical, and it was probably like a thing that he really wanted to like do justice, and then it like gets erased.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, my one chance to make the movie in it got fragged up.
Yeah. Maybe they'll come out with another one soon. Who knows? They've done so many alien movies. They'll probably come out with.
I know. I'm surprised they haven't thought to do another thing and do it right because you'll get people will watch it.
Fede Alvarez.
Yeah, doing the thing.
That guy would
honestly. That's like his kind of movie.
He would crush it.
Yeah, he definitely likes that stuff.
If it's practical, like he'll crush it.
Yeah, Don't Breathe, Evil Dead, Alien Romulus, all people stuck in a ship with a monster.
Oh, he would crush it.
Yeah. I think that's probably a good director choice.
Yeah.
And I can picture the movie. I can see it in my head. You know, so it's like, God. Yeah. I remember when we were walking into the theater to see that movie, and we saw someone coming out who we knew, and they're like, "Get ready, man! That movie's so fucked up." And then we watched it and we're like, this sucks. Like, what? This blows.
Yeah. Maybe it was the deaths. But like the deaths again, on theory and writing were good.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Right? And they're kind of frigged up and gross.
They're messed up.
Yeah, brutal. Yeah. Like merged.
Yeah, like fusing together. Like I remember when I seen the guy like when the guy fuses together the guy on the ground, I seen a comment and it's like, imagine you're the guy on the ground and like your last little bit of consciousness is being like merged with this
No, I
thing,
know.
and, like,
When you really
now
start
your
thinking-
consciousness is like part of his consciousness and whatever. And it's like, imagine that being like your final moment. I was like, that's kind of terrifying.
That's brutal.
Like
yeah.
in that aspect, like that's cool. It just should have been done better. It
Yeah.
should have just looked better.
And that stuff easily disturbs me, where something's happening to a character that like shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
And it's like, oof,
Yeah.
that's wrong.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, it spoils it, man. Like
Yeah.
the effects, sadly.
Takes you out of it.
Takes you out of it.
If your goal as a horror director or whatever is supposed to horrify people, in that aspect it should almost kind of look real, because if it looks real, that's horrifying.
Yeah, oh totally.
Right? So it's like if it looks cartoonish, it's like this looks like a video game.
Yeah, for sure. And it has a punch if it's real. Like you can feel that it's real, it's there, you
Yeah.
know? And like with modern day effects, like man, imagine how good they could have had that looking. Like just light it correctly and like cover it in goo and you're
Yeah.
looking great. It'd probably look
yeah.
fantastic. You
Yeah.
know? It's just like, damn, they frigged up.
They did.
All right.
Now we're at number one.
I'm so interested to see your number one.
Yeah.
What are we at right
We're
now?
at an hour and 10.
Oh, that's not bad at all. That's kind of average. All right, so my number one, which is a hard pick for me, but I just watched this again recently, and I'm like, man, this movie is so damn good. It's the 1974 movie, which is interesting. That's my second 1974 movie on my list. Black Christmas. Directed by Bob Clark, who is an American director, but he's made some of the biggest Canadian movies, really.
Okay.
He did like, or Canadian, especially Christmas movies. Black Christmas, A Christmas Story he did.
Yeah.
He did Porky's, but we won't talk about that. He's done just a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't seen Black Christmas, it is like so good. It's so good. Yeah, watching around Christmas time, obviously.
Christmas movie? Yeah.
It is a Christmas movie, but again, it's just about a sorority house, and it sounds so cliche, but a sorority house, and it opens up, and they're getting a phone call, and then you're led to believe, and you know that they've already been dealing with this person that's phoning them.
Right.
And he just phones them and says like the most vulgar sexual stuff at first. And you think it's like some like prank phone call guy. So he's like saying the worst stuff to them, and then he goes, "I'm going to kill you." And then hangs up the phone. So then the movie is the sorority house and all these girls getting ready for the holidays, and this guy keeps phoning. And there's a bunch of red herring stuff going on too. Like a girl from the sorority goes missing. There's a missing girl in the town. The main character, played by Olivia Hussey, is in a fight with her boyfriend because she's going to get an abortion.
Okay.
Abort their baby.
Yep.
So you don't know if he's the killer and he's phoning them because, harassing her because she's going to get rid of the baby and stuff. Just super good, man. And the phone calls are so damn good.
Yeah.
Like super scary. Like, what mother wants to know is, it's like this guy doing this girl's voice and a kid's voice type of
Okay.
thing named Billy. It's just
Yeah.
weird as hell and like super unsettling. And then they remade it. So the whole point of the movie is you don't know what he's saying on the phone, or it makes no sense to you. What
Yeah.
mother wants to know is, and it's like, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
And then they remade it and they explain the whole fucking thing, what
Yeah.
he's saying on the phone and what it means.
Right.
Which I think ruins it, because the whole point of the phone calls is they're unsettling because it makes no sense. It's just a man screaming about his mom and Billy and all this weird stuff. It's just super good, and like I like Christmas horror movies. So like I love that shit.
Yep.
And like I think the way to do it correctly is to make it feel like a silent night, And that's what this movie feels. It's very quiet Christmas time,
Yeah.
The cinematography is great. It looks very warm. Yeah, it's just like it's a cliche now, especially the story and especially the ending is like a cliche kind of twist.
Yep.
But at the time it wasn't, and it's super good. Yeah, you got Olivia Hussey. Who else is in it? Margot Kidder, and then John Saxon. Have you seen the original Nightmare on Elm Street?
So long
Probably
ago.
so long ago. He plays the dad. So if you know John Saxon, you either love him or think he's the most boring asshole in the world. I'm kind of in the middle. I like him in certain
Yeah.
movies, but I've seen other movies, especially like he was in Enter the Dragon actually with Bruce Lee doing some
Oh.
karate.
Interesting.
But I've seen other movies. It's like if you see a low budget B movie and it has John Saxon in it, you know you're in trouble. It's
Okay.
gonna be him on a college campus with a briefcase talking about some stupid symbol, So it's like, I don't know. But yeah, Black Christmas, it's like literally a masterpiece, I think. There's a few
Nice.
things maybe that humor wise that don't sit well with me, but it's
Yeah.
just 2 moments.
Yeah.
The rest of it, it's tense. It's just such a good story and scary. It's like genuinely scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'll have to check it out.
You
It
should
sounds
definitely.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's super good. Yeah.
Cool.
It's like known to be like one of the movies that birthed the slasher genre.
Really?
But I wouldn't call this a slasher. Like, there's like maybe one kill that I think is a little like unbelievable, but the rest of the kills are like so well done and shot very interestingly. It's not like now you see the knife go in the back and then,
Yeah.
it's just like it feels like a little thought out,
Yeah.
So Yeah, but it's supposed to be one of the movies that birthed the slasher genre type of thing.
Okay.
But it's funny because Bob Clark has a connection to my number 5 movie, Deranged, because the director on that acted in a lot of Bob Clark movies, produced them, and everything like that. So yeah, they're kind of connected, and they kind of have a similar vibe too. So
okay.
You know what? Black Christmas is playing at the Highland in December. We'll go.
There we go. We'll go see it.
Definitely.
I'll go see it.
Yeah, I'll get all scared.
I'll go see it for sure. If you say if it sounds good, like it sounds cool.
Yeah, it's super good.
I'll go watch it.
Yeah, definitely. It's good mystery. It's just a good movie. Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a review on it.
I would love that, baby. I would love to, because I would love to. We'll have to watch it and then not talk about it.
Yeah.
And then just wait for the podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Because I saw it at the Highland last year and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then I just watched it again. I watch it every year, maybe twice a year.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just like every time I watch it, I'm reminded of how good it is. Just like it a little more every time, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's my number 1, which is shocking.
Number 1. Yeah. Okay. All right. My number 1.
Okay, this is insane because I have no idea what it's going
to be. Number 1. I'm going to go with Hereditary.
Yes. Okay, I want to talk about this movie, so thank God.
Again, kind of going with the ghost.
Yeah.
Like supernatural horror. It's a little bit of gore in there, I guess, but it's more so supernatural. Again, talk about like stress factor. Dude, that movie like just had me so stressed out as soon as things started happening in the movie.
Yeah.
Right? Which it happens pretty fast. I feel like it establishes itself as like shit's gonna go down, and it's gonna go down real fast and real hard. Because you kind of find out like in the beginning of the movie that like the grandmother is like dead. Yeah. She like dies or whatever, just passes away or whatever, and then they have like the funeral for her and all that stuff. And it's like, okay, the grandma looks creepy.
She does look creepy.
Like that's
a little too innocent or something.
And it's just nothing. We've talked about this multiple times after seeing it, but it's like nothing good happens in this movie. Nothing. Like,
hell no.
It's just so downhill. And I don't know, the first of all, the girl who, when we talked about this too, is like she definitely got cast because she looks a little abnormal,
which you feel a little bad about.
Yeah.
Like,
she kind of has like this connection with like her grandmother, right? She's always like the favorite. And she's always like going to like clicking.
Like the grandmother like wanted to breastfeed her and stuff.
Yeah,
or weird
it's
shit
super
like that.
weird. Anyways, this movie just like, again, it's just so tense, and there's things where like it happens a lot in the background. Like you kind of have to like look and like adjust your eyes, be like, whoa, there's like
for
figure
sure,
of a person like
lots
standing in the background, right? And it's funny because I watched a kind of like a little bit of a breakdown on it, and there was things that I didn't notice beforehand.
Yeah,
and I was like, where the hell did that person come from? They're like, yeah, there's in this scene, there's a person standing in the corner of the room. And I'm like, I did not see that
for
before.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's like, I see that now. I'm like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
But like, it's so insane.
It is insane.
It's just insane. And is it Ari Aster?
Ari Aster, baby? Yeah.
Because he did The Witch.
No, so that's Robert Eggers. So he did Midsommar.
I always get so confused between the two of them because they
kind of came out at the same time and had the same marketing style.
Yeah, I feel like their style in general almost looks similar. So I'm like, I just get them so mixed up.
Yeah, and they also came out of the trend in horror movie trailers where it's like, something you shouldn't be seen, or like, it's so shocking or whatever, you know? Yeah, true horror. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know really where to begin other than just like, that's why it's on my number 1, because it just horrified me.
Oh yeah.
So it's crazy.
I agree. When I first saw it, I don't think I fully appreciated it. Yeah. And I watched it again, liked it. And then I watched it with my mom because my mom kind of likes horror movies, but she doesn't watch a lot. So I was like, oh, you got to watch Hereditary.
Yeah.
Man, it was so much fun to watch with my mom because she was going, the whole time.
Stressful.
And then she's like, that's what she was saying. She's like, this is insane. And then she's like, even at the opening shot, she's like, this feels wrong. She's like, this house is depressing me.
Yeah.
It's like everything in it from the beginning, you're like, yeah, this is depressing and it feels wrong.
Yeah.
And yeah, just my mom loved it, but the scene with the little girl in the pole, literally we had to pause it for a second. My mom's like, okay, give me a second here. She's like, this is like we were talking about it for days after, and she's like kept talking about how when that happens, how the kid is just like gripping the steering wheel really tight after that happens.
Yeah.
And then he like moves, looks in the mirror for a second.
Yeah.
And then sees the body and like quickly looks away, and just like the horror of being like stuck in one spot, I was like moving my mic away.
The man, what was the one moment? I think again, like when you kind of find out that the grandmother dies or whatever, and it's like, I think it's what's her name? Toni Collette.
Yeah.
Toni Collette. She's like looking in like because she's like an architect too, I think, or something like that.
She makes model houses things, like little models.
Model houses for architects.
Yeah, something. Or like in art showings too. She does like rooms and displays and stuff.
Yeah. So she's like looking in like her little like house or whatever, and then like she like sees her grandmother like through the small window or something like that. And I'm like, dude, this is the stuff that freaks me out because in a way it's like you almost put yourself in that situation. It's like as you're walking through your house, it's like you're down in the basement and you have all these lights on. You have to like run and turn off all the lights and still get up to like the living room or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So it's like the same thing. It's like if I'm walking through my house or whatever and I'm always like looking over my shoulder. I'm like looking in mirrors and stuff. I'm like turning off all the lights. And I'm like, dude, like I'm walking around with like my flashlight on after when I go to bed or whatever.
Yeah.
That's just insane.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like I had a dream about it one time, but I kind of skewed it into like something else, and I was like,
"Yeah, that's something you don't." My mom said she had dreams about it afterwards. Yeah. Ari Aster, dude, he does like such interesting choices in that movie where like you'll see the mom in the corner of a room.
Oh, dude!
Instead of her crawling across the ceiling or the wall, she like floats. She's like
crawls. Floating. Yeah, it's weird.
It's weird as hell.
Like float crawling.
It's genius. It's like he knows how to like really make something just feel. Ooh, what the hell am I witnessing?
It makes you like so uneasy. Like it almost like makes you question like, did I see that correctly?
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like the same thing because this is when like, I mean, like that's not really when stuff starts to really go down. It's like because she's like float crawling across the wall, and then like he like the main character like walks down the stairs like to the living room, and then you see her like up in the corner of the the corner of the room, and she's just like sitting there. And because you're like waiting for something to happen. You're
totally.
Waiting.
Yeah.
And you're waiting for this main character to notice, and he doesn't, right? And then I think she's like gone or something. I don't know. She's just crawling all over the place.
Yeah.
And then he notices her. She chases him, and when he's like he goes up to the attic or whatever. This part like was just insane.
Yeah.
Because he's like he like latches the attic door down. And then she's like attached to the ceiling, like banging the shit out of her head on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, oh man, this doesn't make me feel
crazy.
good.
Yeah, it's crazy. I feel like it's a perfect blend of like, almost like paranormal horror, but like real life horror. Like again, spoilers. Like the son is driving his sister to the hospital because she's having an allergic reaction to a peanut, and her head's out the window.
Yeah.
And hits a pole and decapitates her. And like the scene when he drives home. Gets out of the car with his sister's body in it, just goes and lays in bed.
Yeah.
And then it like cuts to morning and he's like still just laying in bed with his eyes wide open. And you hear Toni Collette going out to the car and then she starts screaming.
Yeah.
That screaming, dude, it's like, oh, you feel it. You're like, oh.
And when I was watching the breakdown of it, it's because the guy's like going over, I think like a little bit of like the backstory of like what the demon is or whatever. And it's like, it really like preys on, you being like weak or like vulnerable, right? So it's like the scene where Toni Collette is like looking at her husband and he's like caught on fire and she's like exasperated, but then she like kind of like goes and like breathes in and she's like just gets like this sense of like calmness. Like that's her being so vulnerable that's like, okay, she's messed up.
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Like, she's taken over
for sure.
Like the whole part where she's like sawing her like head off or whatever. That's like the definition of like terrifying.
Oh, for sure.
Just the expression, like, because even the guy in the breakdown was like, just the expression on her face alone is just so unsettling.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, man. I like, it's something about Ari Aster. It's just, he does something different that no one else does or has ever done, I feel like. And not that I love all his movies. Like, we saw Midsommar together or whatever.
Yeah.
Again, when I watch it, he does those things where there's always stuff in the background you don't know. Like the big one in Midsommar is like it opens with her sister gassing herself and her parents or whatever.
Yeah.
And like Ari Aster does dead bodies like no one else. Like they look disturbing as hell.
Yeah.
And it's like zooming up on the sister all gassed and like her eyes all blue. And then like when they're in the village of like the the Swedish people, you can see like the sister's face with the gas tube in her mouth in the trees and everything. And like
I remember discovering that I again, looking at like breakdowns, it's like, yeah, like here's all the hidden stuff or whatever that, you know, you can look for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hereditary is a damn masterpiece, dude. It is like, again, talking about downhill movies. It is like the ultimate downhill movie.
There's no ups in this movie.
Nothing
literally.
good happens.
So if you haven't seen it and you're gonna watch it, just be prepared to like be stressed out. I think like after the movie, like go and do something happy.
Yeah,
I don't know. Go,
but you'll
like, I don't know.
You'll like it though. It's like the first thing my mom did was go online and start watching that video that you watched,
like the breakdown,
the breakdown into like what the cult is and stuff. Because my mom likes all that stuff.
Yeah.
So she was into it for days, and she still talks about it. She'll be like, "Oh God, that movie."
Yeah.
Like,
I haven't seen it in a while. I think I've only seen it maybe twice.
Yeah.
In my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not something I go back to.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, I guess if I'm in the mood for it, or
just
someone
that's
hasn't
stuck with
seen
you though. Yeah.
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 Or someone hasn't seen it, I'll watch it for their first time. Yeah. But it's like, oh my God, it's just so stressful.
And
like,
I feel like as a directorial debut when it came out, I didn't know it was Ari Aster, and I didn't know that it was so elevated, and I kind of missed that when I first watched it because there was only shit horror.
See that?
We did, yeah. There was only shit horror movies coming out, so you're like, this is going to be another one. But then once I saw it and then started to learn about Ari Aster, I'm like, okay, this is a guy who has something interesting to say.
Yeah.
Like makes like
it's like the part where like the mom is like floating up to like the
again
the body's like floating up to the treehouse
with that weird music.
Yeah.
It's like and the treehouse is all lit up.
Yeah. It's a cult. Like, it's a cult film. It's about like cults and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like
cult and like family drama and like mental illness. Like the mom and her child, their relationship, and like waking them up in the middle of the night with gasoline, covering them with gasoline. Just like the mom is clearly mentally
unstable.
Yeah, unstable. Yeah.
I guess the only good thing about the movie, like the only good up part of the movie, is the dad. I think he's like the only innocent.
The dad
one.
is where it's at.
He's
man.
so the dad is so innocent.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, oh, this poor guy.
I know. There's a scene where like everything is going downhill so much, and the dad's like tried his hardest to keep it together.
Yeah.
And then the mom and the son like freak out at the table and say like the worst things to each other. Like, I wish you weren't born. And then the dad's just sitting there in silent with his son. And then just starts crying at the table, and you're like, "Oh, this poor guy. He's just like a casualty, you know. He's like trying his hardest to like keep it together."
Definitely.
Yeah, but yeah, Ari Aster, you gotta see. I find like again, not loving all his movies, but still liking them. Beau is Afraid. Again, there's just so much stuff in it where it's like, just I don't know, what I'm seeing feels wrong.
Yeah,
nightmarish, like straight out of a nightmare, you know, and just like. Yeah, like even Midsommar, like the corpses, like at the end when they're burning the guy in the bear suit, and they have like the stuffed corpses in the back of that house, stuffed with hay.
Yeah,
like the main characters, like Will Portier or whatever, and it's like the deflated corpses, man. Like Ari Aster does it like no one else, you know. Just even in like again odd choices, like the floating on the ceiling. There's a scene in Midsommar where she's kind of having a dream that all her friends are leaving without her.
Yeah.
In the car, and the car is driving away at night, and you see Will Portier, whatever his name is, head in the window in the backseat driving away, and it's like floating, and he's like smiling all weird at her.
It's been so long since I've seen that one too.
It's just like, what am I seeing? This is wrong. It feels like a nightmare, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, I love Ari Aster. He's such a nerd. When you look at him, he looks like Bob Balaban. Like he should be the NBC executive. But I love him though. I can't wait for his next movie. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good pick. I'm glad we got to talk about Midsommar. I mean, Hereditary.
Hereditary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see much, but those are the ones that are like, that hit me the hardest. And they're like, whoa.
Definitely.
Just crazy.
Yeah. I remember when it came out, the trailer said, "This generation's The Exorcist." And I can't agree more. I feel like we haven't had anything that horrifying since either.
Yeah.
In that way.
Yeah. I think it's going to stick like that. I mean, like, it's terrifying. And like, so this might be relatable here. So when we were in high school, I remember I was in class and we were I think The Exorcist, the original one, came up as a topic for some reason.
Yeah.
And then one kid in class was like, "The movie's not scary at all."
Yeah, I know.
Right. And then it's like, he was like, "Why is that rated so high as like the scariest movie ever?" And then the teacher was like, "Well, like think about like seeing that for the first time when it came up, was it 1970 something?
Yeah.
Imagine seeing that for the first time, like these things like were probably a little bit taboo to watch, right? So it's like, imagine going to see that for the first time in theaters, and it's the same thing. It's like, let's just say 50 years from now, people see Hereditary and they're like, "Why was that movie so scary?"
Yeah, exactly. Like, now we've seen way more. Right?
Yeah. And it's like, you just got to put yourself in the shoes. It's definitely just a modern horror.
Yeah.
Like, probably what people are like going to be terrified about, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's just, you got to put yourself in those shoes as like, why was the movie so scary back in the day?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
you got to. There's always context.
Yeah.
It's like, why was the Wolfman scary in 1940 or whatever?
Yeah,
and it's like, and maybe it wasn't. I don't know, but it's just like, the different context, what people had and had seen, and it's like,
but it's the same thing. It's going to hold up as The Exorcist because
I think so.
It's just insane.
Yeah, I definitely think it's his best movie.
Definitely,
and I think probably one of the best movies to come out in a long time.
Yeah,
and just rewatchable. I like movies where there's so much hidden in it. Every time you watch it, you can figure out more. Because there's a real mystery there that I think is solvable.
Yeah,
in a sense that you can always get and grasp more.
Definitely. Yeah,
just like hidden symbols and it's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun. I like talking about that one.
Yeah,
that was good.
Top 5 horrors out of the. It's out there now, so I mean, like,
I know.
I guess we'll have to do Dylan a favor and watch. What is it called? When Evil Lurks.
When Evil Lurks. Yeah, he'll be happy hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we have access to it, so
we do. We'll watch it. We'll
watch it. And
yeah,
I watched the trailer. Well, you sent me the trailer, and it looks pretty crazy.
It looks.
I mean, like,
I've heard it's crazy. I know that's why Dylan wants us to watch it. Because it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I've heard it's like very rough.
Okay.
But that's all right. We'll watch it together. It's always best with a buddy.
Yeah.
It's like
we'll see it because I mean, what is it? 2023.
Yeah, it just came out. Yeah,
pretty
it's like
new.
Spanish.
Okay,
or something.
Yeah. I was trying to get like what it's about through the trailer, but it's like I feel like the trailer's like is kind of all over the place. So I'm like, I don't really know what's going on.
Which is nice though. I don't really know the plot.
Paranormal stuff, probably. I don't know.
Or like, I don't know. There's a lot of like outbreak stuff. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll watch it and we'll do it.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do that as like a separate episode for a review.
Definitely, we'll do a full episode on that.
So I guess will just be kind of a heads up to if you want to watch it before we do our review, then you can form your own opinions and kind of follow along.
Definitely,
that way it's not like a spoiler. So I guess if you're into horrors, right? So
for sure, I think that's a good idea.
A little preemptive sort of homework.
Yeah, and I know Dylan and Nick, they've already seen it, so they'll be excited to hear our thoughts. So
that'll be coming up. Don't know when. We just got to find a time to kind of get together to watch it, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. All right,
that'll be that, and I guess should we say what we're going to be doing next? Like for sure.
Oh, like today?
Today?
Yeah, for sure. So.
Tubi Roulette number 2, baby.
Tubi Roulette number 2. We're doing the same thing we did. What was that? Last week or 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, we're 2 podcasts in a day and doing a Tubi Roulette.
So again, if you're not sure, purely off of chance, it's off of a couple dice rolls in the Tubi Originals only.
Yes.
Category on Tubi. So if you have Tubi, it's totally free. Do the same thing. We're gonna probably just post it on our Instagram. And you'll see which movie we're going to be watching. Purely leaving up to fate.
I am
Most Wanted Santa number 2.
If we land on another Christmas movie,
dude, it's the time.
It is the time. It makes sense. It's funny because I always mention names that if people aren't related to me, they don't know who the hell I'm talking about. But Nia skipped into Most Wanted Santa to look at the boner. So she went to the time code.
Yeah.
She said, "I don't know if it's a boner.
It'll be up for debate. We'll do a whole episode on that.
Yeah. We'll break it down.
Yeah. Is it a boner or not a boner?
Yeah. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
That'll
be happening right after we end this. So
yeah, exactly.
We're gonna go, I guess, get some lunch, watch some crappy movies, and
hell yeah,
that'll be episode 7.
Yeah, love it.
We're cranking these bad boys.
We are. It's so much fun. I'm genuinely like, it's too much fun. Yeah, for sure.
Oh boy. All right. Well, that was our top 5 horror. Who knows what top? Maybe like little community engagement. Leave us a comment or whatever you think our next top 5 category should be by genre.
Yeah.
For sure. Top 5 sci-fi, comedy, war, whatever.
Yeah.
If you want us to do, I don't know, top 5 Vince Vaughn movies.
Yo, fuck me. Dodgeball.
Yeah. Top 5 actor movies. Who knows?
Yeah, that'd be fun. I think sci-fi would be. You've seen more sci-fi, so we could do that. Yeah.
Sci-fi, fantasy, whatever.
Yeah, tell us.
Film noir.
Yeah, I have some
crime. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, crime, everything. I love the top 5s. It stresses me out.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally like not sleeping.
I know, because we make up our lists and we're like, oh god, I gotta place this now, and we kind of message you there being like, oh, is your top 5 done? Yeah, not really. I'm still thinking. Like I gotta piece it all together.
I made my final touches this morning.
Did you? Yeah. I put mine in order. I had my list of stuff. Ones that didn't make it, I'll just really quick.
Yeah,
take
for sure.
2 seconds. Really, really quick. Ones that because I did see that were like, I was like, oh, okay, this might make the list, this might not. Dead Silence.
Dude, I was thinking about that too, just because how freaky that was back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is going to be an obvious one. Blair Witch Project. Like, pretty crazy.
Yeah, we just watched that, actually. Or I saw it at the Highland. It was good. Yeah.
This one, I don't know. This is why it didn't make the list, because it was, I don't know. As Above, So Below.
Yes, The Paris Catacombs. I remember that movie. Hey, dude, that movie has gotten so much love lately now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like been discovered again and people love it. Yeah.
The one like death in that movie that was like just again weird.
Yeah.
Was like, it was like when the guy is like he basically he gets like stuck in the floor. Like, and his legs are sticking out or something like that. Like something happens where he's it's because it's all like supposed to be or remnants or whatever, but he sees like his friend in the car like burning, and he's like trying to like help him, but it's obviously like an illusion. And then he like goes up to it, and the car just like kind of implodes into the ground, and like you just see his feet like sticking out of the ground. I'm that's crazy.
Yeah, I remember. What is that too? It's
I don't know. It's supposed to be like an illusion or something like that. It's like supposed to be a ghost. Anyways,
have you ever seen those YouTube videos about that family in that house, and they're all getting stuck in the floor? And like their face is stuck in the floor, and then half their body. You should watch it. It's that same kind of thing where it's like, oh, what is going on? Their like heads are stuck in the floor and shit.
Yeah, I was like, dude, that threw me off.
Yeah,
like, concrete like stone floor.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, that's a bad way to go.
Again, I feel like that's the stuff that disturbs me. Is like, what? How is that happening to the human body?
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah,
those are just ones that like were on there, but like didn't quite make it.
Yeah,
anyways.
I had a million.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah, that's horrible.
We'd be here for another episode.
Talking about all the ones that almost made it.
Yeah.
But
yeah. We're gonna go get some lunch.
Yeah,
we'll wrap this one up.
Wrap it up.
And go record our 7th episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Leave us comments. Criticisms, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Is Misery a horror movie? I don't know.
That'll be up for debate.
Yeah, I'm gonna get shit on.
Yeah.
I'll probably make it into like a YouTube short just so random people on the internet can get mad.
Yeah.
That's a good idea for YouTube shorts.
Definitely.
Okay, but yeah.
All right. We're gonna be getting caught up on our YouTube editing, so hopefully you might see some episodes come out before we come out with this episode.
For sure.
We're trying our best to kind of keep up with the video editing. It's just a lot.
It's a lot. And I wasn't editing before because I didn't have a computer. So now I have a computer. So now we can bang them out.
Yeah. The audio is just so easy because we just export it and it goes right to Spotify. So that's easy. It's just the video editing because we got to get like source material and all that stuff. So it's just piecing it all together.
It takes longer than I thought myself to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
cool.
We'll get going here and wrap things up.
Perfect.
All right.
We
will see you episode 7.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.